Dan Stone lay on the rooftop under camouflage netting 5 stories up from a Brooklyn street. He looked through the scope of his rifle down the 6 blocks to the Sicilian Gardens restaurant. The restaurant didn't have a garden, but it was Sicilian. Owner Vincent Salvatore was a mob capo and ran his crew out of it. It was a good day, bright with no wind. In a corner of the rooftop he could not be seen from the street, and from the air, with the netting, he would look like a pile of debris collected by the wind. Dan had been in position since early that morning, ignoring the accumulated grime of decades that had collected on the roof and the parapet. He had settled down to wait. Dirt and grime didn't bother him, neither did the waiting. He would wait for as long as it took. Below, the streets were busy. Store owners had rolled up their metal screens, unlocked their doors, and some had even swept the sidewalk in front of their establishments. From a nearby bakery, Dan could smell the enticing aroma of fresh-baked pastries. Trucks were pulling up to make their deliveries. People began their shopping. His Brooklyn had come to life. He studied the restaurant through his scope. The few tables outside were not for customers, but for Vincent and his boys when they wanted to sit in the sun and enjoy the respect and deference they got from those in the neighborhood. Dan was waiting for someone special to show up, someone he would send a deadly message to. He had a Remington 700 SPS rifle set up with a bipod. It was one of the best shooting rifles one could buy on the civilian market. It was chambered for a .308 cartridge, almost identical to the 7.62 NATO round. The .308 was a good long-distance cartridge capable of delivering a lethal hit out to 1,000 yards. After acquiring the rifle, Dan had purchased a heavier match barrel, which had been bedded in and floated during the installation. The trigger had been reworked to a light 2.5-pound pull. He had equipped the rifle with a surefire muzzle brake and suppressor. He was using a Leopold 320 power scope. The result of these modifications was a quiet and very accurate lethal weapon. From 6 stories up, no one would hear a shot over the background street noise. Now he lay and watched and waited. He had been a sniper in Iraq, so he knew about patience, about waiting.